playing horse. Yeah, our first match is against HyperX. I think they're pretty good, but I don't think they're one of the stronger teams, so I think we have a really good chance, and we're going to put them down.
The Alpha bracket started with 16 teams, and after today, we'll be down to just 8. Hello and welcome to day 3 of the lock-in, the biggest VCT event ever. And we're coming at you live from the Ginásio de Ibirapuera in São Paulo, Brazil. Of course, I'm Golden Boy in the captain's chair, joined by Mimi as well as Achilleos, and it is a pleasure to be with you guys here today. It's going to be a fun day and probably a wild one because we have 2 Brazilian teams that are going to take the stage later on.
Yeah, the crowd was good the first 2 days of this event, but now that there are Brazilian teams here to cheer for, I think it is going to be electric.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. We're excited about it. Achilleos, man, I almost had multiple heart palpitations yesterday after, especially those first 2 games.
Yeah, crazy series to start things off. I mean, the FPX series just so back and forth with them and Carmine Corp. Really, truly didn't know who the hell was going to walk away with the win there, but Carmine able to get it in the end, and then DRX dropping Ascent for the first time in a very long time, not since Copenhagen versus FPX if they dropped that map. So it was a really good showing from BBL on that map to take it all the way to 3. And unfortunately, the third series wasn't nearly as crazy.
Well, let's go ahead and go into greater detail about the matches yesterday because we had 6 teams that made their debut right here on the world stage. Unfortunately, 3 of them went home due to the single elimination bracket, which is an unfortunate reality. But Carmine Corps, you know, they managed to take down FPX, but Mimi, that was quite the game.
This is probably one of the most insane single series of Valorant that I have seen. Both these teams came in with some really interesting ideas. Never thought I'd see a team where Scream was IGLing that played not a single duelist across the entirety of this series. Chinese Valorant continues to be exciting and weird and just awesome to watch. There's a lot of potential for the scene, but unfortunately for FPX, just not quite there yet.
Yeah, and then of course we made history yesterday. The first time we had a Korean team take on an all-Turkish team as well in DRX and BBL. And Achilleos, I know you had particular great interest in this, but I am glad that BBL showed the world what they're capable of against one of the world's finest.
Yeah, I think they really set the stage for what they are going to be able to achieve in the Pacific, or sorry, in the EMEA region when that does kick off after this event, because you know, coming into this, a lot of people were saying, okay, DRX should have this pretty easily. We saw the prediction rate. It was like 98% for DRX across the board on all polls. And BBL really made them sweat. Being able to take them down on this map of Ascent, especially given how things had kind of started for DRX, was a really good rally back from BBL because they got absolutely just boomed out of that first map. That first map of Pearl was just so one-sided. For them to be able to rally back and also rally back on Haven after a really rough start was really incredible for them. So I'm really looking forward to tracking BBL and their progress through EMEA.
Yeah, but the rest of that series really was just all DRX all the time. They come back in with the same roster as last year, look fantastic. Buds is absolutely fragging out. And besides the issues that we saw in Ascent, it was looking pretty incredible for them.
And then we were so excited about what could have potentially been the Giga Banger, one of the greatest matches of all time. And unfortunately, for Cloud9, it was a great match. But I'm talking about Cloud9 and HyperX, obviously, as our last match of the day. And Mimi, I think we came into that one expecting a little bit more oomph from HyperX than we ended up getting. And Cloud9, well, I think they answered a lot of questions yesterday.
There were a lot of issues from HyperX, but what I walk away with mostly from the series is being so incredibly impressed with the prep that Cloud9 did in the offseason and the read that they have in this meta. Both compositions they brought out here are not ones that I expected, but I thought they were so incredibly well thought out on both and really well set up. And then HyperX just got shut down by it and was really unable to make an adaptation during those matches to these wild comps, and unfortunately are now headed home.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we were really anticipating was, okay, they've got Ye, this is huge, what a pickup, best player in the world. Ye is going to dominate the lobby. We saw a bit of that in that first map of Lotus. He was able to take the top of the standings, but he didn't need to go out and crush. It was really the likes of Leaf and Zeppa who were going absolutely crazy in the lobby. I mean, everybody on that team right now looks great. Vanity's shot calling, fantastic the whole way throughout.
Yeah.
genuinely, I am terrified for DRX going into that next match.
You know, in comparison to where things were, at least where the conversation was for C9 coming to the event, I think a lot of people were excited about the team, but they were unsure. They were kind of a bit of an unknown commodity. And now they show up here. And yes, was HyperX struggling a little bit? Sure, but I think a lot of fans at home are going to be taking the C9 roster very seriously here in the Alpha bracket. Speaking of, coming up today, we actually have some huge matches today. Our last 3 opening matches of the Alpha bracket. First up, it's going to be Team Heretics taking on Evil Geniuses. Then it's going to be MIBR versus Talon Esports. And then later, our returning champions, Loud, will be taking on Gen G. Mimi, I have a feeling we're going to have some upsets today.
Yeah, it feels very, very possible. I think a lot of these matchups are going to be quite close. You already mentioned it as well. 2 Brazilian teams get to come out and play for their initial matchups here. And what's wild is already 3 days into the tournament, we will already have lost half of our teams from this Alpha bracket.
Yeah, it's just, it feels so weird because normally we're like 2 weeks into an event before we start sending people home, and it's like, oh yeah, we've just called half of the group already, and then of course we have to call another entire group next week or 2 weeks, whatever the hell it is. I don't know. I've lost track of time.
Time is just a loose construct.
33 hours of travel has really just fried my brain, but it's great. I'm here for it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, there's still plenty more Valorant to come, and I know everyone at home is excited about it. We are excited about it here in the venue, and I know I'm going to be particularly pumped when we get to see our Brazilian teams take the stage right here in São Paulo. But if your lock-in bracket has already been busted, and for me, unfortunately, that already happened.
Same.
I think, you know, we need to get some bracketology experts, and luckily we have Bren, who has all of the answers.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy. Yes, welcome to Bracketology. They've given me a full segment, a full length of time here. They told me to take my time with this as I build the perfect bracket. They told me it was impossible. They told me you couldn't perfect the bracket, but I've made it an art form myself. I'm going to be taking my sweet time with this. I have 2 minutes. 2 minutes with this, with the segment that I was Okay, I've got all the... There's a timer. Okay. MIBR, first team to go through against Talon in the bracket. Probably going to be making it through on that one. Honestly, I'm not going to bet against the Brazilian teams. I'm in their country. They'll go with that one there. Stick them on. What's next? Who have I got here? That's Talon. That's useless. They're already out. MIBR. That's Loud. Not MIBR. Loud versus Gen G. Again, same logic applies. I'm not going against the Brazilian teams. Let's go. How much time have I got? 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute 25. This is moving all over the place. What is this? Heretics is a team? It's a silly logo. Where the hell are they on this bracket? They're not winning against CG. Neither are Talon. Cloud9 versus DRX. I don't know who to predict for that one. I'm going to go with Cloud9. Look pretty good. 1 minute on the clock. I'm being pressured in my ear. The sticky tag is going all over the place. Where are they here? Cloud9. I'm not going with Cloud9. I'm going to go with DRX for this one. I think that they looked a bit sloppy against BBL, but they're going to be able to pick it up in time. Who else have I got? That's just already fallen off. HyperX, they're gone. The next team we've got is HyperX again. I'm just searching through all of these. Gen G, that's useless. Koi, 30 seconds. NRG versus Giants. I'm going to go with NRG. Stick them on. Get on there, NRG. And Loud, sure. We'll go with Loud. We'll go with Loud for this one. And 13 seconds. Okay. 10 seconds. This pressure. Where is EG? Where is EG in this box, man? There they are. Oh god, their logo is so unrecognizable, and I've run out of time. That's the bracketology lesson. What do you make of that one, Desk?
What the hell was that? I wasn't even.
That was science.
He didn't predict who the final. If I was leaning on Bren for actual knowledge, which why would you ever? Okay.
I think that's the best.
What'd you make of that, Seth?
I think that's the best segment we've ever done. I think it was absolutely brilliant.
I mean, Maybe I feel like some things were meant to be there. Who was he trying to predict?
He
Cloud9.
literally
They
just
fell off
picked
the board.
the
Wasn't
Brazilian
meant to be.
teams
He went
because
for DRX.
he feared backlash. And then the EG sign was literally in the bucket the whole time, and he couldn't see it.
The poor man needed an assistant. He needed some help.
Yeah.
Surely an upstanding scientist like him could have afforded an assistant.
Next time we'll do it. Next time we do that, we bring back bracketology. I'll go in as his assistant. I'll make sure that we have it sorted out.
Yeah. You could definitely be there and help him out or help him out. Okay, well, I hope you guys learned something useful
I
today.
definitely didn't.
If not, well, it's just a Wednesday. So, reminder, make sure you guys use the hashtag VCT LOCK-in and hashtag VCT throughout the event. And we will, of course, feature your tweets on the broadcast as we do all the time. But we want to know, for our tag board question of the day, who do you think is going to be the matchup that has upset potential written all over it? Scan that QR code that's at the bottom of the screen. You got Team Heretics versus Evil Geniuses, MIBR versus Talon, and, of course, you have Gen G Esports taking on Loud. Seth, what do you think's a potential for an esport? They're both esports. A spoiler
esports.
today.
I'm going to say the biggest upset, I think the one that, if it does happen, would be the biggest, is obviously Gen G versus Loud. Just because we haven't gotten to see a lot of these Gen G players on an international stage, and they're going up against a team that does still have some of the world championship roster on there, as well as some really good, strong new faces. So I'd go with that.
I'm with you there. I think Gen G actually have a chance at this one. And imagine how the crowd would feel if Loud go home in the first round. That would be brutal.
But I want to set the stage. What if Talon beats MIBR?
I don't know if it's that huge of an upset compared to Loud.
I think that either way, it's both hilarious.
All right, well, guys, coming up, we're going to deep dive into our first match of the day. It's Team Heretics taking on Evil Geniuses. But first, we got to take a quick pause for the cause here. We'll have a quick break. We'll see you guys on the other side for plenty more. Welcome back, one and all, to the lock-in here. Let's talk about our first match of the day. We've got Team Heretics squaring off against Evil Geniuses. And let's actually talk about the Heretics first, coming out of EMEA. This is a team that has... When you see the names on the roster, Mimi, there are a lot of names that fans of Valorant should recognize. Champions, legends in other games, damn good players. This is a good squad on paper, technically.
Yeah, here's the thing. They have some amazing players that have hit some amazing heights in Valorant, but for the last year, the core of this roster has felt like they're on kind of a downslide. Zeke going from a championship performance to not appearing at an international event. These guys, for the most part, have seen those heights and are looking to re-hit them with this new roster in Heretics.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, kind of just shades of Koi, because you do have so many of these parts that everybody knows. They come together. You've got a former champion there in Zeke, much like we had stars on the other team. They're having some fun with the walkout. All right.
Okay.
I'm into it.
Kellogg's is going to get carried in this match.
Definitely,
I didn't expect that.
Definitely the thing you don't want to do on match day if you drop him on the cement.
Yeah, that would not be great.
That's what you have a sixth player for.
Yeah, that's
worth it for the content.
The play standing up is just fractured tailbone.
Oh,
God.
That's just...
Anyways.
I thought maybe they were going to set him down after walking for like 5 seconds.
Actually, they're going to carry him out to the stage, actually.
That would be... Yeah, sure, why not? Let's go with it. We had the
see if
snail
that one
walk out from Benkai yesterday, so let's keep amping it
so.
up.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? In talking about the players, actually, let's actually talk about Kellogg's because, you know, this is a guy that I think, you know, I was talking to Mitch and Tom about this in the back, and they were telling me, like, he's either going to have one of the greatest games of his life, or he could potentially have a stinker. And you really, in this single elimination bracket, Mimi, need him to have a fantastic game.
That's exactly it. Kellogg's cannot be carried in this roster. In previous iterations of G2, which is what the core of this team kind of used to be, he was always the make or break. He's either popping off or he's falling flat. And generally, he's a really, really good player at LAN. This is going to be the first time in a while we see him in this setting. So I think if he can find those same performances, it could be a huge, huge win condition.
Yeah, absolutely. It's somebody that you really need to just go in and go deep, find these kills. I mean, the highlights, they speak for themselves, but we're hoping that it's going to be less of a sold out situation here for Kellogg's.
Yeah.
We know that firepower is there. We didn't see it from sold out. If Kellogg's can come out here and perform in this series, then GT are going to have a really rough time dealing with it.
Yeah, this team has the talent. They've been here before, but for me, what really has to mold it together again is an IGL. It's another one of these teams who is restructured with a strong core, but a new leader. Traditionally, G2 has always had issues with finding an IGL, sometimes even playing without them. And now they have Boo, who is storied and really solid in that role. So my hopes are a lot higher for this Heretics roster than previous iterations.
Yeah, and you know, like with all the teams that we have here at the VCT Lock-In, right? There's so many fresh faces, orgs or teams joining new orgs or players joining orgs, and you know, all the rigmarole that you could possibly expect with Roster Mania. So for even more on Team Heretics, we've actually got a short video for y'all to check out. So let's go ahead and meet Heretics.
Hello, I'm Oscar Cañellas, most known as Mixwell. I play for Team Heretics and I'm a flex player.
My name is Boo. I'm from Lithuania. I'm playing for Team Heretics and I'm the IGL of the team. We have some young blood in the team. The way it works the best in our team is when Oscar or me are kind of orchestrating things and then younger guys are doing the job basically.
In my team we have people from different countries, starting with Kellogg's. He was my ex-teammate in G2. He's the youngest player in the team and also really funny. Vavova, ex-teammate in G2 as well. He's from Denmark. He's the best smoker I've played with. A super good person as well, and I'm super happy to have him with me. We have Boo. He played on OG London United. He was the IGL, and he's the IGL of our team. He's a really smart person, really chill. And we have Zik. Zik is champion of the world in Valorant with Ascend. He was the MVP. He's a really good player, and now he's in Team Heretics.
It helps a lot for me as an IGL when Oscar is stepping in and helping me with the calling. When everybody is in the flow and there is a lot of communication, a lot of energy, a lot of hyping, that's when we are the best, and I think that's when we can beat anyone.
Our goals for this tournament is to go as far as possible. We want to win against TG, and then we will face MIBR, in my opinion, probably. They are in their home crowd, so it's going to be a tough match, and I'm looking forward to play those two matches first and then go match by match. Guys, we're coming for you. Don't relax too much because you're gonna go out home soon.
And that was a look there at Heretics as they get ready to take the stage. But let's shift the conversation over to their opponents. Honestly, for a lot of people, the underdogs that are going to be coming out of North America, it's of course Evil Geniuses and Achilleos. They had a bit of a interesting offseason. It was a bold strategy for sure, but they have a core five that they have been sticking with.
Yeah, this is going to be the core five that we get to see, but we do know that there are plenty of other players waiting in the wings, pretty much an entire other five-man squad that they could use for things like in-house scrims, if somebody gets ill, injured, whatever, or if they start performing incredibly well. So they have a really deep bench that they can pull from.
Christine with
much
the
like
rip.
Yeah, okay. BCJ dropping out of the bus, nice. But yeah, they have a really large bench that they can pull from if they need to. But this is going to be the core five that we're going to be seeing throughout this tournament. But it's a bold strategy. It's only one that we've really seen from one other squad at this event, which is Global Esports. Everybody else has kind of gone for a bit more trimmed down on the roster, but they said, you know what? We don't care. We're just gonna get a
We don't care.
get a whole little like apartment complex worth of people.
Well,
Still,
yeah.
fundamentally, that core 5 players for this team is something they've been building on for a while. Last year, they made it from the Tier 2 of NA with young NA talent building into Tier 1 and then upsetting teams like Optic, making a really good run there in VCT. Even though we never saw them internationally, this team has gained a lot of respect in North America. Now heading in to this new year, they picked up some more veteran talent. They bring in Ethan, they bring in BCJ in hopes of elevating this roster further.
Well, I think part of that success as well has come from Jogamo, right?
Yeah.
Like he has, I think, had an amazing closeout to 2022. Everyone was talking about him, and this is going to be the guy to look out for here in this match.
Yeah, maybe I was a little too deep in the Judgeopium last year, but I was saying that this guy is one of the absolute best dive players that exist in North America. Playing on the Rays and the Jet in VCT, he was putting up some insane numbers. I mean, just look at some of these clips that he was able to pull off against top teams like Optic that you're looking at right here. He's now going to be coming into this match as a young player at his first international stage, and I'm really excited to see if he can keep up this performance.
Yeah, I mean, clearly showing right here the KO as well.
Decision making.
Yeah,
He's
can
really
play around
smart.
that. So it's really great decision making, but also some decent flexibility in there, being able to shift over to something like an initiator if you want to go for a duelistless comp. Let's hope that they don't. Give me the duelist.
Yes.
I don't want more Carbine Corp and FPX stuff. Just give me the duelist.
Yeah, and look, I think that a lot of people are going to, undersell this EG lineup because you got a lot of players that are taking that stage for the first time. They are going to maybe have some land jitters. It's a young squad, so I totally get it.
Yeah.
That's when you lean on the leadership of people like Potter, the coach for the team, to kind of keep the squad in line. But let's actually go ahead and meet this new and improved Evil Geniuses roster and actually hear from the one and only BCJ and Busio. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Hey, it's BCJ, and I play for Evil Geniuses, representing the Americas League, and I play the controller role. Busio, he's our IGL in-game leader. He's been playing a lot of Sentinel, and that's kind of his role right now, and he's definitely the leader emotionally and helps us get the wins on the attack sides for sure. Jajimo, he's going to be our duelist. He is like one of the most insane mechanical players I've seen. Plays all the aggressive agents, goes way to ham, has no off switch, but we love him to death, and he's also really key for our vibes. Com plays Initiator, and he is the guy who, really treats the team as his family, and he's really caring, really nice guy, and he's that guy who finds all the lineups for us. And then lastly, we have Ethan, and he's one of the players who has the most experience in the team, and he has a ton of FPS experience on LAN.
Hey guys, my name is Busio. I play for Evil Geniuses and I'm the IGL. It feels amazing leading a squad like this because they have so much more experience than I do and they still believe in me to call for them. So it means a lot to me, and as long as they believe in me, I'll believe in them.
I think a lot of people have been downing EG, and hopefully after this tournament, you guys will finally see how strong we can be as a team. We have some really nutty players in this team that have done amazing things in their career so far, and we're only going to expand on that in this tournament.
A lot of eyes on the Evil Geniuses here. Also, just want to give a special shout out because to the moms of our pro players here. Busio's mom, I believe. Like all the parents that are always coming out big, supporting their kids. So shout out to you, Busio's mom, and the rest of the moms out there who support the players. But yeah, I mean, just hearing the players talk, there's a certain level of comfort there that is quite comfortable, I think.
Yeah, they say they're like a family. It goes beyond just the Twitter parents that we have out there from a lot of members of this team. But I think what is an interesting part of this squad going into this new year with this new roster is some of the role changes. BCJ was always that initiator player when he was playing over with Xset. Now he's going to be switching over to that controller role, as well as that. Busio was always a chamber player. He did slot into that IGL role last year, but now for kind of the first time in quite a while, he'll be playing that more traditional Sentinel, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that really impressed me a lot at the last Champions was BCJ. I didn't, I watched some VODs and whatnot, but didn't do that deep of a dive. But seeing him play on Xset, even as an initiator, he was really able to hold down a lot of those sites, especially when they were one of the teams that was willing to bring out Pearl early when nobody else was willing to do it. He was instrumental in being able to block out those attacking squads. So him shifting over to the controller role, I think, is going to be a perfect fit for him.
Yeah, this team, it could be scary, but let's not forget, across the field, you have Heretics, who are very much looking ahead in this competition as well. But we're going to take a quick break, though, and our first match, is going to be coming up very shortly. You don't want to go anywhere. This is VCT Lock. Before the break, we asked you which match has the most upset potential, and I'm very happy to say that the polls have closed and the results are in. And it is Loud versus Gen G.
Yep.
Not a shocker there, Achilleos.
Not at all. I mean, I think there actually is very real potential. There's a ton of experience on that Gen G core. Meteor has some LAN experience there as well. And as we know, if he goes off, he is very hard to contain. I think it's going to be a very tough match for them, but there's potential for it. And if it does, them taking down the world champions again is just monstrous for Gen G.
Yeah, that would be huge. A massive upset for sure. But let's actually, we had some fun, some arts and crafts.
Sure,
and we decided to have some predictions. So I want to hear who you guys think are going to win this. Mimi, we'll start with you.
All right,
who
let
do you
me
think is going
grab
to win?
my artistic piece here as I almost
we might
throw it
all
on the
be in line
ground.
on this.
We'll flip this one around. You can see this beautiful piece of me predicting EG.
Who is that?
That's PCJ.
It's
See the
PCJ.
sunglasses?
Okay, all right.
See
I too, but I have my reasonings, and it's not NA bias, please, okay?
It is.
Yinsu,
Get him on Twitter. Get him.
Here it is. I went with EG, but I also wanted an opportunity to draw the old EG logo. So that's why I decided to go with Evil Geniuses. Oh, and also you could just use this as like a meme, potentially, and write something ridiculous down
Seth,
the line.
this is not a 3-0 chance of EG winning this, so please have predicted Heretics.
You both are NA pilled, is what it is.
Yeah,
so
yeah, who
I
you
went
got?
with the obvious choice. DRX.
What?
DRX is
not
going to
even
win
in
this
the game,
match.
Seth.
Doesn't
Erase the
matter.
board.
They're so good they can win matches that they're not even a part of.
You know what? They're not even in the game. At some point, enough has to be enough.
End the segment.
My real prediction is actually EG, so we are 3-0 for
No,
EG.
it's going to be a close match. Heretics are probably the favorite.
I think it is going to
into
be
this.
very close.
All right, well, the time for talk is done, and it's time to get this day started. And of course, we have our final 3 opening matches here for the Alpha bracket. It's a new season and anything is possible. Day 3 of the lock-in starts right now. EG versus HyperX. I hope you feel hype, and I have to say, I took a particular point of pride seeing our friend Potter take the stage and do the fist bump. That was pretty cool, but this is going to be quite the matchup. And honestly, look, I know we were talking a lot about EG going into the matchup here. We all predicted it, but let's not get it twisted. HyperX is a scary team.
Yeah, think about the players that you have on this roster. You have guys who have been here before. You have Zeke, who has won a championship before on this team. And for the side of EG, they have some players who are brand new to this. Calm, Jaw, and Busio, two of the three core players of this roster. Excuse me, three of the three. This will be their very first time. The pressure is going to be big. And last year at VCT, even when this team was looking fantastic, they had a problem with getting stressed out, choking away some of those matchups. What kind of lost in the LCQ?
Yeah, I mean, BCJ was talking about it during that interview, saying like, it's me and Ethan. We're kind of the solid foundation for this team to get these guys up to scratch when it comes down to playing in a LAN environment. So they're going to be the two that'll keep everybody cool, calm, and collected. Yeah, well, Lotus is going to get yeeted out of this one. Makes sense. No reason for EG to have to play that Icebox. No box today here, Mimi.
I think that's a good ban. EG in their old edition absolutely adored Icebox. It was their best map. HyperX has never been great at it. That leads EG to pick Pearl. We've never seen them play with the addition of this roster, so I'm excited to see what they have cooked up there.
Yeah, but I think that this somewhat makes sense. I mean, I was talking about VCJ holding things down on this map at Champions when he was on X-Set. Maybe that can just kind of carry over. Maybe he's guided the younger talent to say, this is how you play this map. Listen up, whippersnappers. I'm going to kick you into shape. But either way, seems like we're just going to be getting a lot of the same maps here. It's been a lot of Pearl, a lot of Ascent focus, and then I wouldn't be surprised if we see Haven as well as the Decider, because that has been the favorite map so far in the matchups we've seen.
Yeah, we did see some of HyperX during the offseason. They were playing some craziness on Ascent. They were cooking up like some Phoenix. I think they played Viper on there at one point. It was wild. I imagine they'll just go back to a more normal composition for this one. Something fresh from both these teams. Haven is where we land as that Decider, though, sadly split. Again, getting knocked out of one of these pools.
These have been some very comfortable maps for a lot of our teams here at Lock-In. But I would have to agree with you. I am very worried for what Heretics are going to be bringing to the table there. And I don't know if EG is going to be prepared for that one on Ascent potentially. We saw how Ascent, Seth, could be that big comeback map, especially when we saw BBL play that one yesterday.
I think Ascent might be the map that we've seen the most deep runbacks on throughout the history of the VCT, especially at global events. Every single solid, 10-round run back to be able to close something out. It feels like in my head it's always been on Ascent, so it could happen again here.
And here is the Prime Gaming agent select.
Surely not. I see a Yoru hover in the mix there.
It's a double duelist.
That would be crazy. But
there's a Jet there too.
That would be wild. On the side of HyperX, doing something pretty standard. I think the biggest difference is that they're playing that breach there. Some teams have experimented with it in the past, but not super popular. And
Holy
there it is.
Cannoli.
EG, double duelist. Optic tried this comp once with the Yoru here, but it was a different edition. They had a lot more support tools for that Yoru. Ethan's going to be on his own. No breach, no flashes besides his own.
I'd like to confirm with production this isn't a misfire, right? Like, this is the actual agent select.
It's wild.
This is going to be crazy. I mean, EG are like out PaperXing PaperX right now with this setup.
Yeah, I do not know what to think about this composition for EG. It's going to be so exciting to watch. Heretics as well coming out with something new. So many surprises in this agent pick.
Well, the time for talk is over. We're all set. So I'm going to be tossing the keys to the Enterprise over to two of my favorite people. It's Mitch and Tom on the call. And by the way, guys, I don't want to see any scratches on my ship. Enjoy.
Well, we'll try to steer clear of any icebergs here. GB and at least no icebox to kick things off. That makes me happy.
He said no crashes. He didn't say anything about like dents or like anything like that. So
that is true.
I'm not going to scratch it, but it might get broken.
It might be gone by the end of this. It might be submerged. Well, look, this is certainly not the agent select I expected. We're getting a double sentinel comp, which is one thing, starting on attack, but then a Yoru as well. I mean, this is they do things differently over in NA.
There's some genius analysts out there that definitely would have seen the Yoru coming, known for days that Ethan has been having that in his back pocket, but unfortunately, they're clearly not here. No one saw this coming. Yeah, it's an absurdity. And I was going to go into today and be like, okay, people like Boo, they've been sort of trying out Initiator recently, so I'm excited to see that. He's not playing anymore. He's actually moved over to Sentinel because I feel like that wasn't necessarily too comfortable for someone like Mixwell. So we got a lot to digest, but unfortunately, we don't have much time. We're going straight into the match.
That's it. Barrier's already up, and it looks like Heretics are up inside of their attacker spawn almost. They've gone straight up on B long with a double push. The knife early to keep them back, but EG looking to take control elsewhere, making their way on in through the double doors already, taking one of those tripwires out and getting rid of those. Obviously, it's a fair trade when you're only removing your Prowler. It's going to mean Mixwell has to hold that angle for the rest of the round.
That's the thing. Even just the doubt that is thrown in alone will be enough to cause some issues for Heretics, but with how deep control they already have, this could be a nasty surprise. Now, Zika's already just looking to try and take some contact. Basically, allow his teammates to be that nasty surprise. 9-0 should get the information. Yellow is up top. It's a bit of an awkward fight, and in fact, overall, it came out on top for EG.
Well, although Ethan goes down in the end, like with the damage done, calm and jug ammo, it's not great. It really isn't. Like, they're in a position now where these pistols on the other side can take them down so easily. They're going to have to rely on Boostio doing a lot of work on his way back through. They know that he can be on this angle. Mixwell not able to do too much with the near sight, but his teammates are on the way to help. There it is, though.
Already turning things back into an advantageous position. Turret down, and Jorgamo trying to just find a little bit more here as the defenders are struggling to get their way back through. Not a lot of utility to play with here as they look to try and connect any sort of shots, but they are shutting it down. Boo will at least be able to get one, but EG are there with the start.
That's what they needed, kicking it off with an early bit of a retake on Belong. The fact that they lose the control early, they have to fight back into it, but they managed to uproot it on the back of Ethan, grabbing a quick double. Not necessarily because of the Yoru or anything. He ran through the smoke, didn't expect there to be two players on his left, and he had a pretty easy time cleaning those up afterwards. Certainly not the usual round,
no.
But you can see exactly what we were saying. Like, the fact that Heretics were there so early on in the round, you just don't expect a double stack like that. This time, though, they didn't get anything for their trouble.
I'm liking it. Like, a lot of the time you see players who haven't really been on an international stage before coming out, are a little bit shy, a little bit nervous. I don't think anybody on EG is. Like, they've got obviously the likes of BCJ who's been here many times. You go back to previous FPS, Ethan has been on a stage more time than most. But the fact is the other players haven't had the most experience here, but they already seem to be having a great time.
That they do. As we see the barriers go up yet again, it looks like this should be an even easier time for them. Just a couple of pistols on the other side, classics all around, and that one Marshall for Kellogg's.
He is nasty with it.
He is. He's got to be hitting the headshots. Obviously, everyone on the other side is coming in here with shields, and they're not looking to give any long-range fights over. I mean, they know there's probably a Marshall there. It's certainly not worth risking a wide swing into it.
But the thing is, and this is the main sort of point I want to look at with these two teams, EG are like a rising roster who've added in a bit of experience, a team that we kind of expect to perform well. Maybe in the future, we don't know what to expect right now. Heretics are the opposite. They're a team that's had a lot of success in the past. We don't know if they're going to be good now because a lot of those players haven't had that consistent form in a while. So I'm looking at players like Kellogg's. Is he going to be as good as he has been, say, back in Berlin? Is that going to be possible? Then you look on the other side of Jorgamo, is he going to bring it on the stage? So there's a lot of questions to be answered. As you said, Mitch, in this round, not so much. You expect EG to take this one comfortably, and even 2 kills here would be fine for Heretics.
Yeah, again, when it comes to these fights, especially with Kellogg's being on the A side now, you really can't expect much from them. You got a player trapped inside the elbow, so a nice little stylish move. They get 1 kill for their trouble on Heretics. It's not too bad. Second follows. Anything from this point is a little devastating, and there it is. Kellogg's following up. Everyone else was 150, so a headshot needed, but with 3 kills in a round like that with 4 classics, that is a big win for Heretics.
Yeah, huge amount of damage, and now the question is asked of EG of how much they actually invest into this one. Do they play this as a really heavy bonus, just try and work with pistols and the couple of sort of SMG, I think they have 1 Bulldog in there as well, or do they now force it up and try and get it done with the rifles? Now, I think most would go with the Prior, unless they're feeling a little bit risky, but we've already seen the C9 really go all out with these sort of rounds, so I'm interested to see if they've taken anything from their American brothers.
Well, I've really liked the early round from EG so far. I assume it's going to be consistent to just see this harassment from the Fade utility so that Boo can never maintain that control. He's got to be very fluid with where those traps are going, and it's not a problem that EG will face on their defense because they have 2 Sentinels. It's not like Fade can just cancel out all of your info if you're playing a similar comp. If anything, you can make that a transactional trade for the Prowlers. So I think the EG's defense is it's going to be a lot easier. At least they have a lot more tools to work with. All right, there you go. Yet again, we've just seen that trap wire destroyed. Yeah. It's just going to be consistent. If you keep putting it there, that Prowler will be put in to trade it out.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to have to be moved over the next round or so from Boo. Now he's got his cam up, just watching for anybody making the push. I feel like they might have heard the cam, so I'm just trying to get as much space as possible without losing too much. And already, a rotation coming back through to try and give them that little bit of extra support on this side of the map.
Like right now, they're going in. I mean, the fact that you've got 2 players this close already, it's dangerous. Team Heretics able to get the jump on them. And now with that spike planted, I mean, Look, EG can play their positions, but it's all down to timing here for Common. Look at that. The second he moves, Kellogg's rounds the corner and somehow walks out with the second. This is now incredibly difficult for Boostio. Some players tagged up, but he has to hit every single shot. It was close. A nice attempt, but Zeke survived the initial barrage of bullets. They'll find their first, only barely.
Yeah, the thing is, though, you have to bear in mind that that was an investment coming out of the side from EG. So although they managed to make that one look close, they're not in a position where they can really buy up back into the next round. You're looking at BCJ Ethan with very, very low credits. And okay, there's an ult or two coming online, which might be able to help them. Like, for example, with that Stinger and the Dimensional Drift, that could work out. But it's definitely going to be tougher. Either way, on the other side of things, a Blade Storm, still a couple of guns saved that they can sort of juggle around. But both teams are going to come in with a buy here, just neither of them are particularly strong.
Yeah, there's weaknesses across the board. I'm curious about Ethan, though. He's got his ultimate online right now, has a Stinger to play with. Whether it's going to be an information play or some TikTok Yoru, I'm not sure. One thing I can say for sure is Team Heretics early round, they're looking at the other side of the map. We've seen there be aggression, but this time, taking some early A control, spotting that out, and we could see some early rotations to this B site. Traps in new positions, and that's going to be something that they have to contend with on their way in. Ethan already making quite a bit of space, catching a fair bit of information, and you can see he's just scouting it out, acting as a recon dart, but here he makes a decision. Does he go back, or is he committing to it? And it's a full commitment out of Ethan! He's caught Zeke completely off guard! Now the site's under threat. There's enemies all around. They need to clear out a safe haven for themselves. The decoy almost catching them, and now they realize, okay, we've got control, but look how much time that bought.
Yeah, that's the thing. Ethan was so low on HP, he's just decided to leave. Kellogg's, though, has already caught the close man. They're going to try and find if there's anybody else lurking around the backlines, and Boo with the spam has found another. In behind them is Ethan. He's managed to sneak his way through, but Kellogg's has found his third in the round. Just one left standing. VCJ trying to hold it down. The time, though, has the time actually gone already? I think it might have done. It's going to be incredibly close, and they win it anyway. Even with that many players, 4 still standing before the spike goes off. It's the time that was bought for EG.
Not sticking it in that moment, right? I don't know what happened.
I think there was a grab well. I think it was
there
a
was
really
a grab
late
well.
grab
There you go, right? So they try to get on it. The player still alive wins by 0.68 of a second. And Ethan here, he's got his decoy down, right? So even after the TP noise is heard, it could have been a fake. That cost them precious seconds that end up costing them the round. Just a gorgeous play by EG from start to finish. And a Stinger and an ultimate. That's all this man needed.
Still, though, you look at the purchases in this one, and it's actually in favor of Heretics. Being able to save those 3 guns through, it's going to be another Stinger for Ethan. They managed to make it work in the last round, but Kellogg's, he is flying at the moment. That was the main question I had. If Kellogg's is on, they win this game. If Kellogg's is off, they don't stand a chance. Those are the sort of 2 sides to this Heretics roster at the moment. Right now, he is on. Even though they lost that last round, he managed to get 3 kills with that Blade Storm.
It's a good sign. It absolutely is. And starting this one off well. Look, they've got their 2-man advantage. There's no need to panic. Camera watching over to double doors. Trap for B long. Just a ton of control to play with. And like we said, one of the main problems here is if EG are dealing with that Sentinel utility. But in this round, they haven't just yet. And this is leaving them in a position where they're running into a stack.
Again. Just instant trade from Kellogg's. They're going to eventually find out this piece of utility is still sat around. I'm trying to work out if there's a way to get around it without actually tripping it, and the answer is no. They're going to walk straight in. 30 seconds, stun through from the other side as Nixor looks to try and pincer in. He'll find that first. BCJ was in astral form, and he will fall as well. A second round on the board for Heretics, and this is going to crush the economy of EG.
Well, Team Heretics certainly off to a good start. Look, even that 4th round, they come out on top in terms of duels, just robbed by a second or so on the clock. That's some very good signs for EG, and attacking rounds built up. Certainly looking like it's anyone's game to start things off here, but I want to see how this attacking side evolves. This round here, there's not going to be much of an evolution. We're just seeing pistols out of EG, and so the scoreline most likely about to be equalized, unless there's some big mistakes from the defenders.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Oh, that could be a difference maker, though. We're setting up for a Jet updraft play, biding his time at the start as well, and now here he comes. I love the idea of changing the timing, but Shot didn't
I think
land.
they were ready for it as well. I think Kellogg's was spotting. It was just that Avova almost gets caught by it anyway. So they had the right idea. This is all they really have in this round. Lockdown, I don't think you're going to use that unless you get a couple of kills. Maybe you can get towards the Nightfall, but these are all ifs and buts, whereas on the other side you have a full purchase. They've also started to switch things up. You mentioned that trip was being constantly broken. Since that's happened, they've started moving Mixo into that exact spot to try and deny the pressure from there, and they've moved where they put the wires. So an initial read from EG was solid. Now they have to deal with what's next.
And look, they're trying to clear this out and figure out how it was being held. Now realizing that the trap had been moved, they blitz into the site. There's still players here, but Kellogg's decides to leave. A quick kill, though. BCJ caught, playing a little slower through.
Really?
Oh, Boostio with a classic in hand. Kellogg's, though, going nuclear on the site with a double. That shut down any chance of these pistols making it costly. Only one man falls.
I'm actually still quite surprised, though, that they used the Rolling Thunder there. Maybe expecting that there was a little bit more in the round, or just wanting to make sure they keep this clean and build up their own economy. It's not an awful usage. I just don't think they really needed it.
Yeah, to be honest, though, just looking at where their economy is, this feels like it's just that cyclical nature of the ultimates. They don't want to have that in the back pocket and risk pistols getting value. That first kill comes in and they say, screw it, we're popping it in, we're grabbing this round, and I'll have my ult back online in not too long. Kellogg's right now, by the way, 12-2.
I missed him on a stage. Like, this is the thing. It's like, people will see his online performances and be like, oh, he's fallen off. He was always best when he made it to a LAN stage. And you're seeing it right now. He is just, the confidence this man has is maybe a little bit too much sometimes.
Well, I mean, he made it out of there, 5 HP, but he's still got some health to work with. Not going to be too easy. You know, the games we saw yesterday, Tom, we had a lot of healing abilities in there. Not a luxury that Kellogg's has on his team. So he is going to remain one shot to absolutely anything. And this team seems to be gradually shifting towards him. They've left the spike behind, though. They haven't made their mind up yet. This might sell it, though. A quick double, and the 5 HP Kellogg's is the last man standing on B.
Well, that's not going to make much of a difference. Down to 1. Shot not connected and really starting to come under pressure. They know exactly where he is, and he's starting to be pushed from behind. He's dead. No chance of survival in that scenario. The rotation has finally come through from the rest of the team, but EG have done well to pick this defense apart. Boo is hoping he can maybe make a little bit of space for Avova. The spike is still only just rotating in, so it's not like the clock is against them just yet, and Avova has managed to sneak his way through.
Oh, well, Ethan had spotted that evidently. And with that, the round is closed out quickly. I gotta say, you know, the Nightfall there as well. Ethan is so terrifying if you're hit by that. You can't hear a damn thing. He is gonna be behind you right away. That's 4-3. And again, showing that they're not willing to let their opponents run away with this one. Even just take a look at where the credits are at. On both sides, they're having to dig deep into their economy just to get the rifles out. Look at it, so close. Just tapping the ankles on his way up. If that was Namor, he'd be gone.
Yeah, the thing is, I do feel like if Heretics do that flash like the second before, they probably catch everyone. It's just that EG basically realized where the space was now after the trip was moved and just walked through. Because the fact, I don't even think they used a Prowler there. I don't think they used anything. And they just walked it. That's why nobody was really checking in that direction just yet.
Again, realizing that setup's going to constantly change. We've seen them be so slow in the map control as well. Like, they're shifting up when they're taking those positions, especially Art. Remember just the previous round when they walked up really slowly and they're spotting the trap wire. They're not just blitzing in and forgetting about that piece of utility. Now, this camera here, we've seen it many a time.
Yeah.
And the information that it is garnering right now, as we said, this is covering double doors, but it's also allowing him to hold the B long position.
I remember Artis using this one.
Quite a bit. And then you have that trap there as well, and obviously you can just allow them to come in, maybe even the Yoru making a play, and you're going to catch him off. But look at where this teleport has gone.
Oh, dear.
It's actually ridiculous. He's behind them on A right now. The lineup is perfect. Ethan,
it doesn't matter, though. Kellogg's is just killing everyone. They're trying to bypass him, and he just gets 4 kills. What is happening? He's just decimating at the moment, and now Ethan, as you said, he was lining up, he was getting in behind them. But it doesn't matter, all of his team are dead, he now needs to ace.
They were banking on his flank so much. The ultimate after the TP was right behind them, but instead of that flank coming through, you had this sneaky aggressive push on A main, completely catching them off.
It wasn't
I
sneaky.
just-
They spotted him.
Well,
They
that's
saw
it.
him in the corner. He fake updrafted away and then just stayed, peeked out, and killed everyone. This was the
stop.
least sneaky play I've ever seen in my life. And Kellogg's comes out with 4 kills. He's just better at the moment. He is 16-4. He's getting 2 kills a round.
I don't even know how to process what we're witnessing here. I mean, you look at it, you think the point of that round, the key play has to be Ethan, the amazing setup that they've got, and for one guy to just destroy your game plan like that, there is no way to account for Kellogg's. We talked to this man before we started here, and he said, you know, I'm going to try to reach that same form as I had last time I was on LAN, and my God, he has succeeded and then some. And we're only 8 rounds in.
He's on 16 kills. No one's played this well so far. No one's even come close. Already getting
17?
the entry in another round.
Just ridiculous. And at this point, you know, the early game plan has to be just sending him out to grab that opening duel.
Why not?
You're trolling. If you're not, the consistency's ridiculous. Now, EG will eventually shut that down, you'd think.
You hope.
We'll have to see. 2 trap wires sitting on this B site, but there's no one from Heretics. Despite being in a 5 versus 4, that they have decided to play full retake. It's a wise choice.
Yeah, they've got Cosmic Divide. They're also going to have null command. All of that utility becomes useless, and they can block off any afterplants with the wall. So this is something that EG are going to have to read into. Now, they're going to keep Ethan here aggressively. He's done this a couple of times now, where he's able to just exit, but the rest of the team are now sticking around with him, knowing that they're going to be forced back by the Cosmic Divide, so they have to play more aggressive.
Well, this retake's starting to run out of time. They've got to get it started eventually, and on the way through, Zeke good to pick it up, but it's Jet in the corner. Could be the point man for this round, catching them off. The spray's good, but the damage isn't there in the end. A right click to bring it down to 1 enemy left. Mixwell, the father of Valorant, now has to close this out. And let's see if he can find it. The dash, it's quick, and he's just playing the clock here. It might again come down to the time. I don't think he's got it.
Yeah, he's not got it. It's the second time. And this round is fantastic from EG. This is a round where they've looked at the ultimates on the other side. Witness how they played every single afterplant on this B site up till this point. They were playing deep. Think about where BCJ was in the last round where they won by time. He was just hidden right at the back to make sure that nobody can kill him off. This time they go, okay, they've got Cosmic Divide. We can't play passive. We can't sit back, otherwise we lose the round. So they get aggressive. They get in the faces of their opponents. You can see they were caught off guard by the multiple different angles. Fantastic adaptation from EG. And they've got the lead back.
Team Heretics not happy with that result, and they've called a timeout. Take a moment to gather themselves and, well, hopefully come up with a solution here. You're seeing that Cypher utility constantly predicted, expected. It's an annoyance for EG, and it's affecting the pace of some of these rounds, but at the end of the day, they're getting away with it. Their Yoru for space taking has been really fun to watch so far.
Sick.
He's got some great ideas, and he's sitting on top of the scoreboard, 11-8 right now. You know, first man in the positions that he's going for, yeah, you don't expect him to get everything. But even from the pistol, he's been popping. Just cannot match what's being brought by Kellogg's on the other side.
The thing I'm going to give him credit for most is his timing. He knows when to stay and when to leave, and even when to move back in again. As we mentioned, that 0.6 second failed defuse was mostly him on like 5 HP with the Stinger, just causing issues in the backlines, them not knowing where he is. We've seen that him playing off the utility of teammates as well. So yeah, the space that he's gathered is hugely valuable, and then you add in that he's also fragging. So it's a good start for EG. If Kellogg slows down, this half is done. Like, he basically has to continue on. There's other players setting him up. I think Mixo's actually done very well with the breach to put those stuns into play. Ooh. I will say, I'm looking at right now Mixo with the gun and Kellogg's not, and that does very much annoy me. No offense, Mixo. I like you, but you don't have 17 kills.
Yeah, look, it's definitely a point that can be made here, Tom.
Yeah, he's going to get him with shot.
But
no, give him the rifle.
he wants to farm up the ult orbs for the Rolling Thunder. You know, that's what it's all about. More valuable, and Kellogg's popping off. Or maybe he can just, he'll do it with the Sheriff anyways. For now, it doesn't look like he'll be doing too much. They had a camera down on B-Long early. That got destroyed, and now so has Boo, the camera operator, and his support out of the round. And that rifle, Well,
Oh,
it didn't do very much in Mixwell's
upgrade
hands.
for Ethan, there you go.
Great.
Little fish gun.
I saw a guy that actually made that in real life, even with the fish and everything, like 3D
With
printed,
real
put it
fish
together.
in it?
No, not a real fish.
Okay,
no,
I,
3D
I
printed
was
the
like,
fish.
that sounds
No, that's
cruel.
dangerous. Yeah, no, he's not a lunatic.
All right. Okay, nice shot from Zeke. I don't think they'll get too much more from this. Jorgamo again just fragging out. Zeke's got another. Not been the best game for him so far, but he's going to try and get a rifle and potentially just get out of there with
Hey, he
it.
saved Mixwell's rifle. No, he didn't. He's gone out for it. I mean, look, dealing damage here, it's not a terrible idea. Again, if we take a look at the credits, as we have the whole way through, these rounds have been close, and at a minimum, they haven't been clean. Anyways, and that's the key point. You can still do damage to your opponent's economy. If you had to drop 2 more rifles there, they would be potentially in a tough spot coming into the final round. But they didn't. And that's kind of the problem. Also, I think Ethan might be blade storming here to an extent. No, okay. I saw he had a shorty, and I'm thinking there's no way he's going to just play the ult and the shorty. They do have the money to work with, so it would be a little bit crazy.
Well, Kellogg's operator online, but it seems like he's not going to be in the right place at the right time. Early pressure seemingly coming in. He's getting so many kills and orbs that he's got this dimensional drift again. We've seen it so many times already. Straight past the trap he goes into the A side, just taking all of the space, and it almost seems like at this point they're just opting to try and play the retake, not even wanting to go anywhere near it. The flash is solid though. Even still, there's going to be an even trade.
That was a really nice flash that he used initially to push Avova into the smoke to gain that space again. Just his space-taking ability, undeniably strong right now, but this Heretics play back into A looks unreal. A lockdown in play, 6 seconds left on it. In comes the nade to try and destroy it, and it looks like it's just about missed. They're going to be stuck inside of it. The timer's gone. They've just about made it out, but now the clock runs way down. They might have another star to play with here. BCJ needs to try and deny it. The spray down, not good enough, and no utility remaining. This round goes to Heretics. It looked like EG might have had a fighting chance, though.
Yeah, I think at this point, that was the right call. Like every single time we've seen the executions, other than the one where Kellogg's just killed everyone on A long, it was really tough for them to play versus the dimensional drift. It always ended in an entry. It always ended with them being forced out. So this time they just move back and play the retake and hold those extremities.
Was a denial of the exact part of the map that he's trying to fight his way into. A good adaptation, something that we wanted to see. Now seeing come through. Operator on Kellogg's early. And again, we haven't seen those be long peaks out of EG. They haven't been going for anything that's going to give an easy pick to Kellogg's. That's not to say he won't find one in the late round, but to start with, it's going to be a slow one. Feeling out the map and finding that utility again.
Zeke looks like he might be against an early fight. Look, Jorgamo again, he knows where the space is. He knows where they've been having issues dealing with their prowlers, but he's not going to win the duel. Calm, quick on the trade, however. However, again, it's instantly back. Well done from Heretics to keep that one in control. And you mentioned the man of the moment. He's got another kill on the board.
And potentially another with BCJ sad here. That spike was spotted moments ago. He saw Kellogg's run back, but still committing to this position. I mean, you got to rely on Boostio. He hasn't found that kill, and now he knows there's going to be an op train down on him. This is a tough fight to win, and with BCJ going down, the chances turn to 0. 6-6 at the halftime mark. We are neck and neck.
Yeah, I think a decent resurgence coming in from Team Heretics. 20 kills on the board as well for Kellogg's. Just an incredible display coming through from him. And that's sort of the question I have, Mitch, is there any player that the desk is thinking of highlighting here? Like anyone you've thought of, GB?
Fellas, I'm just going to tell you right now, that was fun. I enjoyed every single freaking round of that. Yep. From the Kellogg's pop-offs to the great ideas we were seeing from EG. But first, let's talk about Kellogg's, because Tom had a great point on the cast. This is a player that is, he's kind of a win con for this team. And if he pops off, the team finds success, and my goodness, he's popping off.
I mean, we were talking about it in the pre-show, like we need to see a strong performance from him and not have him fall flat. Oh boy, has he just been going absolutely ham.
My guy's full fizzy soda.
He's averaging a 413 ACS right now in the first half, so they're tied up 6-6, and he's dropped 20 kills already in just those 12 rounds. At one point, he was averaging 2 kills per round. He's going absolutely crazy, and only 6 deaths, 0 assists. If he puts his eyes on somebody, they're dead.
Yeah, every time EG had a good plan, Kellogg's was set up to be in the right place at the right time to miraculously get 3 or 4 kills and pull some wild rounds away. But as we look forward, let's talk about some of those plans, because EG came in with something funky here. They brought that Yoru out, and I was a little doubtful since they were playing it without a breach or a KO, but the synergy that they found with the Fade pick, I was actually really impressed with. Take a look at this one. This is Ethan finding his way in with that with the Seeker initially to take backside, and then you're going to see that Calm will have been able to throw utility over the top as that ult goes deeper, and they get that space, are able to play the post plant, which they were absolutely excellent at throughout this entire half. And here's another one. You actually see the C's there connected onto a player. Ethan takes the opportunity while he's stuck in place to get that gap, go back around with the shorty, win the fight. Another opportunity here. Fade ult, that player backside in Kellogg's, he's going to be absolutely deafened, and the Yoru is going to just teleport straight behind him, flash on in, and get himself a nice little free kill there. There were some really cool ideas in the first half, but now the question is, how do they translate this into the second? Because that's where Yoru tends to struggle on this map. Normally you just think, we go for the rotations with it, you can sometimes play gambits, but with the way Kellogg's is playing, I don't know if I'm confident in this.
Yeah, I would happen to agree with you on that one. Kellogg's is on fire, and if he continues to play in this manner, watch out EG. It is going to be a barn burner, but this is the best way to wake up in the morning, baby. I'm loving it, so let's send it back over to the casters.
Well, it sure has been an exciting first half. It's not often you see a player go 20-6, and it's even at the half. That's a rarity.
It's not even the Champions winner either. That's the crazy thing about it. No, I definitely agree with Mimi, though. This is where I want to see what EG have truly come up with when it comes to that Yoru pick. Because defensively, I'm going to be honest, most of the time, hot trash. So I hope they have some ideas.
Yeah, it was a good first half, but now this is where the challenge comes in. Flash used as a support for his teammates, and they're actually double peeking around, effectively turning this into a 2-lane fight, double peeking them down and leaving EG in a 4 versus 3 versus 1. It shouldn't be possible for Boo, but a few well-placed headshots, and those odds could quickly turn into his favor.
He's got time. That's the only real thing on his side at this point.
There's a firing squad waiting on the other side, though, and the spike down.
Yeah. I think he's more wary of somebody coming in on the flank, but he still has his cam available if he wants to use it to try and find out pieces of information. There's also the turret on short towards Art, so he's not going to be able to get too much information going in that direction either. And now with all 3 players from EG set up, stacked up, ready to trade, he has to do something crazy.
I'd love a comparison of him and Kellogg's in this scenario. Kellogg's would have already swung them and just tried to headshot, probably would have headshot them all. Boo goes back, gets his camera, gets his utility. He waits for it to be back online so he can spot them, figure out where they are. Okay, didn't get him a ton of information, but it's worth using. Maybe they went back to A site at this point, right? So it's worth putting down. He's given himself every advantage. This is a Cypher clutch. Unfortunately, there's 3 players holding the angle, so he's going to die. But, you know, I love watching him try.
Like, you could tell he's a smart player. Unfortunately, I don't think it would be a smart player that wins that card.
No. He's like a world-class pilot on a sinking ship. It's not much use, really.
Yeah. But either way, another pistol under EG's belt. They've started both of these strong, perfect read, like having that initial setup, the flash, even just having the extra utility to give them advantages, and unfortunately, well, for HyperX just not being ready for that, not being ready for such an aggressive stance. Now, that's something they're going to have to be prepared for, because again, you've got a Yoru jet on one side. You have to take map control, you have to pressure, because if you're left defending, sat back, you have basically no utility that's going to help you.
That is true, you know, for EG at this point. The one thing I'm looking at, though, is their utility versus HyperX, right? The control that they can keep playing this Killjoy. When they initially locked it in, they had a Cypher on their roster as well. That would have been wild to start on attack, but luckily, that wasn't the real comp. Here we go. Good damage by Ethan. He's down with a pistol. What? 3 kills!
He's playing a Frenzy and a Stinger. That shouldn't be allowed. There should be a rule that you're only allowed to have one of those guns at a time.
It's actually sickening. He runs out of ammo after doing 150 damage and goes, hey, I'm not done, boys. I got another mag. Load it up. Let's go. 8-6, EG winning that one easily. And, you know, those are the rounds where you sit back and say, oh, how much damage can they get done on HyperX? And the answer is no. I mean, it's just basically flawless on the way. And even with Ethan, he's gone into a Bulldog here, and I fear what he's going to do with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. This round, they've managed to keep things pretty clean over the last couple. It's nice to see that obviously we've got the Brazilian games coming up after this, but the arena's already starting to pack out. I'm enjoying it. They're enjoying what Valorant we've got to offer so far, but I'm sure it's only going to get louder as the day goes on.
No pun
But
intended.
they're given a good match so far.
That they have. But it's not over yet. Remember, this was EG's map pick. They
I'm
came
also
in-
just remembering yesterday. Started good, went downhill.
EG choosing this map, now being on defense with a comp that, I'm going to be honest, not many people have probably prepped against this comp. It's not something that you're going to be very used to what your opponents are trying to do on the other side. In fact, a lot of this game might be just figuring out what ideas they have, just like we've been trying to do. It's a challenge, certainly, and, you know, it's a challenge for us. They don't have X-Ray, at least I hope they don't. That'll make a big difference. Already, opening pick going to Heretics. Now remember, weaker weapons here, and I think that was a Spectre that was dropped.
Yeah, just trying to get that little bit of extra space. Com in the right position at the right time. He's tagged desperately low, but in fact the pressure's coming in from behind. BCJ's managed to catch another one. Now diminishing any advantage that was there, but Kellogg's lurking through the back lines. This should be for free. An easy kill to turn it back into a 3v3 scenario. Com still in an aggressive spot. He finds another, drops the spike on the ground, and now they have the pins and have them surrounded. It's all onto Kellogg's, and even he can't win this round. What a play from Com.
Unbelievable. You start this round off with weaknesses and a pick for Team Heretics, and it crumbles. And of all the rounds for that to happen, and remember, they didn't manage to do a ton of damage. There's no way he's playing an Odin. BCJ, come on, man. Come on, don't do this to me. Don't play with my heart. I'm looking at the stage right now. He's in astral form. He's not got a ton of time to sell that. I hope he's not going to top of it if he's going to play it.
He can wallbang art. I've seen a couple of people do that.
Stop it, BCJ. What are you planning, my man? Let's have a look. Okay. I've never seen a man play that position with an Odin. He's just ready to go. And in this spot, oh, it's dangerous. You can wallbang this with a Phantom. When you're talking about an Odin, it's like he's out in the open. He's just going to be dealing so much damage on the way through.
I really love the idea, though. The Kellogg's like somehow gets into the site, kills him, and then picks that up. That would be my favorite thing if this happened this round. But
I'm gonna be honest. I would almost bet everything I own that Kellogg's would not pick it up. Even with the Sheriff, I think he would just roll with the Sheriff.
He's like, hey Mixo, you want to
gun? It's not his kind of weapon, you know. He likes to be quick on his feet and tap heads. That's not the Odin. No. That's crouch in a corner and just pray for your life.
That's my main worry as well going into this half, is that he now needs to be the tip of the spear. And unless you're having the greatest game of all time, dashing into sites and getting 4 kills, not really possible.
Yeah, it's a little different for Ethan with the way he's able to set himself up and the utility he's got, the barrage of players that come with him, and alternating angles.
It was still impressive when he was doing it on the Yoru, so
it
that's
was,
the thing.
Absolutely. But then, yeah, when it comes to Kellogg's, it's much more one-dimensional. You got to dash forward. You can't just appear in their spawn. And let's see what he can do here. Great flash by Ethan. What a setup. 2 kills for his trouble. Down goes a Nano to delay a little longer, and there's only 20 seconds left on that clock. They have got to get going now. That first duel doesn't go too bad, nor does the second. They're back in control.
Oh, the spam's going to get rid of him, though.
10 seconds.
It actually comes out from BCJ. That Odin has actually worked out for them. Trying to get that plant again. Boo just needs to defend. Mixor will be able to get it down, somehow turning it 2v2.
He's dodged the flash! There's the wallbang from BCJ. He's in astral form. Weapon out, not on time. Boo has a chance. Headshot needed, and it's delivered! Boo! He saved the round for Heretics. They're not out yet.
It's just ridiculous. 2 kills from Ethan at the beginning. You think it's just going to be a slaughter. They have 20 seconds to run into the site. The site is currently spread with nano swarms, and they just entry in. Then you even have the fact that the Odin manages to find a couple of kills as well. Ridiculous. And Boo, someone who's been relatively quiet so far on the Sentinel.
45
just
HP
at the end.
45 HP. That Odin is run spraying the corner. He's dead. Of course, like, you don't know he's that HP. There's a lot of math that has to be done on the spot, and you're focused on a bunch of different things, but that has got to be devastating. All right, Rolling Thunder. They're not messing around here. Straight into the side.
Oh,
and Kellogg's,
gorgeous.
he has just embarrassed BCJ, but he had plenty of friends here to help him out, and look at the spot. What a flash.
Oh, both flashes this round have been fantastic. Boostio, he's only going to be able to drop the KO to the floor. The haven't managed to get him back up yet. And in fact, another pick coming through. This is actually a 2v2 for a second. Eventually that res is found and the Astral utility will help them out.
Coming in on that Cosmic Divides just left them in such a bad spot. No flashes for Ethan. Getting back in here is going to be tough. They're basically just strangle holding this site. And any attempt made here is denied. EG don't even make it past that ultimate. And just like that, a 2v2 retake isn't even attempted. With HyperX surviving after getting that extra player, we're in such a lovely spot.
See, I don't know. Obviously, Zeke's second flash was sick. I don't know if the first flash was his as well. But not only did they have the Rolling Thunder into the backlines, which makes me think it probably was his flash because Mixwell was around the corner doing the Rolling Thunder. But there was a flash into that back corner that meant BCJ was not only stunned up, but completely blind. Got them a free entry, and then the flashback through was even better on the second time around. HyperX, this is the thing. In the first half, I'll be honest, we were kind of looking at that as the Kellogg show. The last couple of rounds have been anything but.
Kellogg's finished the last half, 20 kills and 6 deaths on the board. He's got 22.
That's the flash. The flash went off just behind it.
Gorgeous. Yeah, that's something that it takes a lot of time sitting on those customs just to get that
There's
out.
about a million other times where he gets stunned by the ult and flash, and he's just stood in the side completely blind. He's like, thanks, guys.
Okay, good opening pick. There's Kellogg's gone again, and we're talking about this guy being first man in, how he's going to be that sacrificial lamb, and this time he's traded his life for a bit of mid control.
Yeah, the thing is, the purchase here, again, it's not amazing for EG, but they have invested into that operator. Jorgamo, there we go. Jorgamo even having his Blade Storm online, so be able to double up. Now, Mixwell has spotted out BCJ. They're able to isolate him in the last round, but this time it might be a little bit more tricky. He does have support, although Jorgamo's peak is caught by Zeke.
He's gonna have a Nightfall at least. He's caught 2 of them in Art and 1 further outside. I mean, at this point, your best bet to swing to the other side is even going to be canceled out by a probable rotation. You've got a 4 versus 4 right now, and you can see with Killjoy utility on B, they're still going to stack up that second player. If anything, for HyperX, just delaying this has ended up with a slightly easier A take.
And the thing is as well, they have plenty of utility still to deal with BCJ. They know exactly where he is, stunned into the corner. I think they still have an aftershock as well, so he's going to be somewhat stuck in the mud. I don't think it's going to connect him. He's still just sat there. I don't know if they're going to expect it anymore. The flash is fantastic as well, and the swing comes out from the SMGs. Just a tiny gap behind the aftershock, and EG steal the round.
Well, that's the problem. You know, you come in not playing the duelist at times, and we heard from HyperX when it came to the games before and some of the conversations we've had that, you know, it's something that you'll get a ton more utility to bring with you. Having someone like Mixwell on a breach, the problem is you miss that utility, you're in a ton of trouble.
It's such a tiny
it's enough for one player to sit in. If he is an inch, a pixel forward, a pixel to his right, I think even, he's taken down. But that's all it comes down to, and it cost them the round this time at such a crucial moment as well. 10-8 now on the board, and the HyperX are on their last legs economically.
It's been a tougher second half for Kellogg's. This is the thing, a lot of the time he's either full speed ahead or he's completely missing. Those are the 2 sides to this man. There's very little in between. He has managed to get the space this time. Let's see if he can manage to find the opener flash through. Is he actually going to go in here? I think he might just have to hesitate a little bit as the rest of the team is still sort of pushing those rotations. I'm also looking at Ethan's deep control. He can very easily TP back into the site if needed, but he might just catch someone off guard. You
know, it's especially the turret. The turret here is just giving it away. They are looking as if they're retake B. They've got a Killjoy on site and a turret watching for a long push, but instead it's Ethan watching long. Boo's caught completely off guard. Boostio's able to grab 1, 2, and now took in for a little more. Ethan's eventually going to deal with Avova, and this is now looking done and dusted. Kellogg's has to do it all with that Blade Storm, and nothing will be found. 11-8, and that was Team HyperX putting all their credits into a round. This is looking like EG might just close it out.
Yeah, a solid hold as well. And as you said, a nasty little setup to almost bait them into believing some of those spots were clear. Boostio playing fantastically around his own utility as well, just to give him those little edges when it comes to taking the fights on the angles and giving that extra space over to Ethan, who is having a worldie of a game. By the way, he is 1 kill behind Kellogg's, who is basically ruling the server in the first half.
You can see the morale certainly high here for EG. Potter feeling good after the plays.
I'll be honest with you, I think they could be losing this 10-0, and Potter would still be smiling. Potter is always smiling.
That's what you need. And with this team especially, you know, it's just a bunch of jolly chaps over on EG. They've got big smiles on their face with 2 rounds left to go to close this out, facing up against what should be an anti-eco for them. Not a whole lot of promises.
No.
And then even thinking of HyperX's ult economy, it's not like that's coming online anytime soon either. I mean, they need a lot to bail them out of this.
Oh. Kellogg's. He's bought himself a judge. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea. So hold on. Oh no. HyperX have given Kellogg's a judge. Think about it. They took the A site before, and it was successful on Kellogg's dashing in. They tried to do breach utility clear when Kellogg's got picked off early round. That didn't work at all. So now, well, give Kellogg's a judge and just go dashing into the back of A, kill BCJ. EG have a different idea. They're actually getting aggressive themselves, and it looks like HyperX have spread out for a default. Whether it's going to be a late round execute to try and get Kellogg's in there, I don't know. But what will happen if they do decide to go to A is they'll have a lot of problems. There's 3 players sitting here, and again, we've seen the same setup from EG in the pistol round. Yoru Flash as a support, and then the other 2 players are peeking down, essentially turning this into 2 lane ways for them.
This is similar to the pistol round, where they just have a perfect setup on EG to just basically pop a flash and leave the players on the other side completely screwed, and they are walking directly into this trap. EG couldn't be more prepared.
This was the idea from HyperX. They thought it at the start, called it off for a retake play, and now so much value has to be found by these attackers, and they're not expecting another player. There's the flash,
Beautiful.
And a decimation on A-Long, just shutting down any hope for HyperX here. Boo was lurking. Now he's the last man standing in a 1v4, Stinger in hand. He's managed to sneak by them, but BCJ, well, I think he should be aware that timing could have gotten them, but they're not accounting for it just yet. No one's watching the angle. Oh, no, Boo! You know, the Stinger, it's not what it used to be. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. No, that's what that was.
Yep. Oh, here we go. Okay, good from the other perspective at least.
No,
no, that's the first bit.
This is early. It's coming. It's coming.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Wait, they didn't show it. Free play guys are being nice today. What happened?
Oh my god. I love it.
Is this what morning games are like? It's just that when we get to the end of the
they
day,
get salty as the day goes on. They're like, I've seen too many whiffs today.
This is my 8th map.
I can only show
everything bad.
5 whiffs a day. If there's a 6th one, you're going on stream.
Oh, this is fast.
Oh,
Kellogg's is completely blind, but I guess it doesn't matter. So was Jorgamo on the other side. Nice shot from Ethan. He hasn't been missing too many. Now Com is the snake in the grass. Sat back, but things have slowed down. There's not really a reason for HyperX to continue to push this. They found a Rolling Thunder with the ult orb for Mixwell, and they already have a man advantage.
Yeah, I gotta respect Kellogg's, man. He just doesn't stop. He went forward, got hit by every piece of utility. Even when he got flashed again, he went, I'll just dash forward. And then tried to kill the guy after. He was already dead. And he wasn't happy with that. He's like, guys, I was blind during all that fight. I'm just gonna peek the site. I'll look for a little bit more. In the end, it's not left them in a terrible position. If they can deal with Calm, this round is almost locked in. I see BCJ slowly shifting back over here, but if Calm goes out for this peak, he better be hitting everything. Only a couple seconds left for him to go forward or backwards, and it looks like he's going to call the retreat.
That's the thing, backwards might actually be worse depending where that Rolling Thunder is placed. I can only assume that's going to go through in a second or two.
No?
Already, the knife is going to give them a little bit of extra information. BCJ, though, just with a spam through the smoke, has managed to take out 2. The wall back not doing anything. Zeke has found that frag instead. Back into a 2v2 we go. Com has managed to hold onto some ground. He's pressuring onto Zeke. The spike plant will come through, and there's a flank. Boostio in behind.
This might not be expected. So many angles to consider at this point. They know where Calm is, or was at least. starting to move out. Now here's what I like. They're taking their own control, and that set them up nicely, actually, for avoiding this Killjoy ult. They don't need to worry too much about it. Sure, Zeke might be in a tough position, but Avova, he might even catch them on the way through. It's the timing. It's absolutely everything here. It comes down to just one man left, and he's being detained.
No!
Zeke!
Don't do it!
He's
Don't
been
do it!
caught
Don't do it! No! Oh, he was so convinced that his teammate would be able to survive. The defuse going to go through in the last second or so. And honestly, I'm just happy it wasn't a knife.
It could have been. He had every right to in that moment as well, but the risk not taken. The map closed out, and EG experienced the roar of the crowd for them. 13-8, a 5-round gap between them, and considering how Kellogg started this map, that is insane. Ethan even managed to top Kellogg's performance. 3 kills in the whole second half for Kellogg's, not Ethan.
Yeah.
He was insane.
Yeah, I think obviously we have to sort of premise it with being that attacker jet, much tougher for your own individual ability.
Hey, I'll say this though, being a Yoru,
That's
period.
true.
That's all I
true.
need to
That
say.
is
Being
true.
a Yoru, damn hard, and he did it here. So I loved every play I saw from this guy. Every single one was just such a treat. So much thought went into this. Sometimes you see new agents and off comps picked out just to kind of throw your opponent off guard. You might have 1 or 2 little ideas, but ultimately it ends up just being kind of a pathetic pick. Here, this was game-changing.
Yeah, no, this was a really nice setup from EG. Clearly had a lot of ideas. Their after plants, once they were able to get into them, were fantastic. And in a lot of cases, it came down to these sort of nitty-gritty rounds where sometimes you'll look at maybe the younger, less experienced players and go, are they going to be able to cope with this? Well, some of the plays from Com, for example, his positioning, his movement, his read on the game to re-aggress and fall back and hold at the right times. He was playing like someone who's been on this stage 100 times before. So I am thoroughly impressed with what we've seen from EG in this map. But what I will say now is there's only so much you can do to surprise. Now on Pearl, there's a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
Going into Ascent, that's where I'm going to be excited to see what they've got, because I think Heretics still had a pretty good showing playing up against something that you're not really going to have seen or played against much before. On Ascent, I don't know if EG are going to be that creative.
Yeah, no, I think realistically, Ascent, it's just so much more grounded as a map, you know? And you come into this map with a Yoru, definitely going to be catching your opponent off guard. But no doubt EG have the upper hand. Now all that remains is to see if they'll close it out on the second map. We'll be back in a little bit to find out, and let's see what the desk thinks.
Make a team. Like, they'll just, like, come up with weird little things and, like, really, like, do good at them.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.